Good evening. Good evening.
Hello, hello, hello. Good night, everyone. How y'all doing?
Hi, everybody.
How's everybody?
How you doing?
Welcome, welcome all. Where did the doctor go?
I have no idea.
What?
I'm sure she'll be back shortly.
They told her to get rid of the bathroom and let
At least people know it's a live show.
I'm going to get my medication. I'm sorry.
You want to do a little quick meditation and come?
No, medication.
Oh, medication. Oh,
I'm just joking. I'm joking. You know, take me my puppy show, you know.
Oh, that's how we live it. Let's let these gentlemen in real quickly. Good night. Welcome to the Caribbean Feedback.
Hi.
Wait, is a print? I see that. Is what kind of thing this boy?
Two for the price of one.
We have some important dignitaries here tonight, man.
Oh, that's son.
Wow.
Hi.
Nice. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Lucy. Good night.
Good night.
So, before we jump into all the festivities, Dr. Judith, you needed to say something real quick. How are we doing this one?
I would like to welcome all our guests and our regular panelists, and to just make a quick announcement that one of our leader panelist is a little bit under the weather tonight. So I'm not going to try to fill his shoes because they're much bigger than the ones I normally wear. So, but I'm going to just, wherever I can jump in, and Sam and Mark and Karin, you just help out and it'll be swell.
Yes,
Gentlemen, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes.
Would you like to give us a report, either of you, about what has been going on with St. Vincent in terms of the what we talked about the first time, and the what's the volcanic reaction eruptions?
Louis.
Yes, Mark. It's once again, thank you so much. It's good to be with you, Sam, once again, and all of the hosts here. And Mark, it's good to see you, my brother. This is my dad, the Honorable.
All right.
Oh,
and
welcome.
He just came up the night before, and when Sam told me that he wanted to get an update on St. Vincent, I said no one better than someone who has just literally come up. Even had a bottle of ash, somebody ash with him.
No.
Myself. So I'm going to defer to my dad so that he can give you some updates as to how St. Vincent is, and I'm sure he can answer any questions you might have.
Welcome, Minister Stricker.
Thank you, my brother. And thanks for having me. Sam, it's good to see you again.
Same here. Welcome.
Now, the situation with regards to La Soufrière is that there is very little seismic activity. However, there is steam coming up out from La Soufrière, and there's water in the crater there. The La Soufrière is not sleeping. The scientists seem to think that it is probably just having a nap. So we are not out of the danger zone yet, and they would not recommend that those who have left the danger zone, the red zone as they call it, should return to the red zone as yet. However, those that from the orange zone, which is between the red zone and the green zone, which is the safe zone, they can return to their homes to do the cleaning up and reside there unless something happens. So they have to be prepared to run again at a moment's notice, because it might not give them a lot of time in order to evacuate. We still have a lot of people in the shelters, and thanks to people all over the world and the diaspora from St. Vincent and the Caribbean as a whole, the Caribbean community has responded excellently. Those in the diaspora and those at home, they have rallied to the call and cry of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they have provided a lot of comfort and necessities that the people who are in the shelters can feel comfortable, to the extent that many of them don't even want to go back. But the situation is that there's still a lot of people in the shelters, a lot of people in private homes, a lot of people in their own rented homes. When I say private homes, with relatives and so on. So we may still have up to about close to 20,000 people still in shelters and in private homes, with very few going back. This thing has affected agriculture to the extent that the ash has covered over most of the agricultural production. So the Ministry of Agriculture is trying desperately to give them seeds and the seedlings that they can begin to produce again for their families and for the market. But things are kind of simmering down, in that we don't have any, we haven't had any explosion since the 22nd of April. So that's good news. We must indicate, however, that because of the volume of ash that is on La Soufrière Mountain, the scientists have warned us that even up to 2 years from now, we may see what they call now Lahore. It's a new name that I had never heard of that term before, but this is just a mud flow. When it rains, it would come down, bring in those trees that were dried up and have lost root, and it can create a lot of damage to those who are living close to on the river banks and the bridges and so on. So we have to be mindful of that, and the government has to have a lot of resources. We have done very well with regards to the humanitarian assistance. The government has produced a supplementary budget of $118 million to help meet the needs of people in the shelters and those who have lost their homes and so on. But a second budget, supplementary budget, would have to come back in order to meet the needs of the people for infrastructure, the homes, public and private buildings that have been damaged. So basically, that is the situation with regards to La Soufrière and the St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
You know, this thing has come upon us in St. Vincent at a time when we were fighting dengue fever, an outbreak of dengue fever, and the COVID-19 pandemic. So we had these two challenges, and then La Soufrière erupted. And we are just hoping that now that by next week we will be going into the hurricane season. There's a beginning of the hurricane season. And this can carry us right down to probably November. There was a time, many of you might know from your school, primary school days, when we had it from June to October, and we said the old little song, June too soon, July, stand by. August, come it must. September, remember. And October, all over. But because of climate change, this can go now into November. We trust that we are spared the worst of the hurricane season, and we don't have back-to-back disaster that make it so much more challenging for the people of St. Kitts and the Grenadines.
Honorable Striker, my name is Judith, and before I ask Mr. Lindsay to make a few comments, I'd like to say to you, listening to you reminds me of the days when I grew up in Jamaica.
Yes.
And I heard the different politicians, one in particular, Honorable Robert Lightbourne. I was very impressed with him. And I like your speech just reminds me of my father and men like that. Of not to say that you're ancient, because if you are, then I'm close behind you.
I'm getting it. But by the way, I knew Robert Lightbourne. He was a member.
Okay.
He was a member of the Federal House Parliament.
Okay, he was an awesome man. I believe he was an awesome man. So I had to point that out because it means a lot to me. So I appreciate your not just your the information that you have, but I appreciate the way you speak.
I should let you know too, I am a Jamaican.
Oh, you are.
I
can't keep up with you folks.
My grandmother, most of my relatives live up in what they call in the hills in St. Andrews.
Okay.
My grandmother is buried in King Weston up in St. Andrews. My first cousin was a politician, Paul Buchanan. He was head of Operation Pride, and then he was a member of parliament for one of the constituencies in St. Andrews. But he got defeated in the last election.
Well, I'm going to tell you, listening to you makes me ache to go back home, to go somewhere in the Caribbean.
Yes.
The accent, the cadence, everything. I just love it. It reminds me of my former days, not very former, but former days. So we'll ask Mr. Mark Lindsay, if he doesn't mind, to give us a little information on his side in terms of you are trying to get people to make donations, financial, in other words, Mr. Lindsay. So how has that been going on with you?
Right. Thanks, Dr. Judith. I'd like to say thank you to Sam for focusing the attention on St. Vincent once again, because there was the initial eruption and there was a lot of focus on St. Vincent, but we have an ongoing situation, as explained by Mr. Straker Sr. And thank you very much, sir, for that very comprehensive update on the current status in St. Vincent. Just today, I've been reaching out to my colleagues in St. Vincent, talking to them to find out exactly what's going on the ground.
Yes.
Of course, I'm part of the diaspora, and I'm currently president of the St. Vincent Association here in Central Florida.
Yes.
We've had an association here for the last 7 years, and we have been donating various supplies to various charities in St. Vincent over that period of time. Just as a matter of reference, 2 years ago, we had the cultural minister from St. Vincent up at one of our events. Ses Mackey was up here with us for our annual Vinci picnic.
Yes.
We've become known for two trademark events in Central Florida, and if you haven't been to any of them before, watch out for us. We have an annual Vinci dinner and dance in October, and we have we have an annual Vinci picnic. Of course, these things didn't happen in 2020, but we're looking forward to getting back on track again very soon. So what's been happening here since the eruption on the 9th of April, the following weekend, we launched a food and clothing drive to collect supplies for St. Vincent. And as you indicated, the response has been really overwhelming. It's been an experience. I mean, in spite of the tragedy that's going on in St. Vincent, it's the way that folks from the Caribbean have come together to support us, and not only from the Caribbean, but throughout Florida and elsewhere. It's been overwhelming. So we've been able to ship a 40-foot container of supplies, food, clothing, protective gear, masks, etc., to St. Vincent. Our policy is that we are an apolitical organization. We make sure that we don't align with any political party. It doesn't matter who's in government. We are here to support the people of St. Vincent. So that container went to one of our charities, one of the charities that we work with in St. Vincent. It was delivered and distributed. Marion House is the charity that was sent to. It didn't all go to them because within that 40-foot container, there were, I think, 28 pallets. And some of those pallets were designated for other charitable organizations in St. Vincent. So that was a distribution point for us. At this time, we have enough supplies to fill another 20-foot container. And we hope to get that out sometime in the first week of June to get that down to St. Vincent. Right now, we're really focusing a lot on requesting cash donations because I don't know if any of you have been involved in this kind of relief effort, but I'll tell you, over the last few weeks, I've never packed more barrels and lifted more boxes onto trucks. It's labor intensive, and at this time, I believe there's a decent supply of these items in St. Vincent. I guess Mr. Straker could confirm this or not for me later on, but we're very much focusing on requesting cash supplies. Cash donations, I should say. We've got a cash app that you could use, or there's a Zelle app that we can use. But one of the things, I don't know if we want to look forward yet, but what I want to tell you what we're doing in Orlando this coming weekend, this coming Memorial Day weekend. The people who sponsor the carnival in St. Vincent, that is Caribbean American Passport. I thought she was going to be on tonight. This is Gannett Roberts. They have chosen to partner with us and use that event as a fundraising event for the relief effort in St. Vincent. So this entire weekend, we're going to be out there at Festival Park in Orlando with our tent, with T-shirts, etc., doing a food and supply drive, cash donation drive to raise more funds for St. Vincent. That's what's going on for this coming weekend. So again, in spite of this tragic situation in St. Vincent, what's been coming out of it has been so positive and so rewarding that it gives me a lot of hope.
Well, and I'm glad you're concentrating now on the cash aspect of it. We have an abundance of food, notwithstanding the fact that we had to prepare at the height of it 63,000 meals. Where you have about 21,000 people collecting 3 meals a day. That's a lot of meals that we had to prepare. There are various NGOs, and the Seventh-day Adventist Church took on part of it. I believe there are 9 shelters that they took on in order to provide lunch and dinners. But people are in need of some cash. We have to now get the children back to school. And we have the schools in the red zone are closed. And we have to bring many schools together. Therefore, we must provide transportation, like to bring them from Sandy Bay into maybe Connery area. And we have to provide meals for all of these children, because in the villages, most of them could have gone home for lunch. But now we have to, now that they're traveling out of their communities for lunch, we have to provide lunch for them. And the NGOs have been doing a very good job. The Red Cross has been doing a very good job, and other organizations. But we have an ample supply of certain materials on the ground: water, mattresses, and food. They've been coming in abundance, and people have been sending their own private shipment of barrels and whatnot. And now you know that the Prime Minister made all the barrels free. So they've been coming in. And it's a very hectic time at the port clearing these things, but we give priority to the containers because that is a larger, for a larger good and a larger amount of people. And we would like to get the containers from the port as soon as possible so that we can go out and meet the needs of more people at one time. But we are looking forward to getting money to help the job there now.
Right. Could I just ask a quick question of Mr. Straker, if you don't mind?
Yes.
What about the PPP equipment, the masks in particular? Are those being well adapted in St. Vincent? Because I know we sent like a whole palette of face mask and protective mask. I mean, are those being well adapted? I know Vincentians are very reluctant sometimes.
They are in great need because one, because of COVID, and two, because of the dust.
Right.
Now, you have to bear in mind that even in the so-called safe areas, the dust has been one of the greatest problems. Whereas in the red zone, you might have larger pellets, stones, and whatnot coming up from the plumes and falling, and some heavy stones even broke windshield and so on. Those in the safe zone, the dust seems to be ever present, even though there's no explosive eruption. When the wind blows, it hits the trees, they come off the trees, and the dust is in the air. When the vehicles drive, they stir up the dust by the side of the road. So we always have to have the mask on, so they're in great demand.
Okay. Good to know.
Yes.
Wow.
Sam or Karin or Mark, you have any other questions or comments you'd like to make?
Dr. Judith, you asked a question last time. I don't know if you remember it. I think it had something to do with education.
I couldn't forget it. I thought about it earlier tonight too. I think I spoke mostly about the spiritual aspect or the counseling,
psychological counseling. Psychological counseling is what you talked about.
Yes.
Yes. Well, yes, because a lot of people have been traumatized by the COVID and the restrictions that have been put in place, and now with laissez-faire. It's not very easy for people to give up their homes and live in shelters, even though many of them do not want to go back because you're getting 3 meals a day and everything, and it's not a nice thing to be out of your community, and therefore there is need for some kind of psychological counseling to get them readjusted to the situation, because there is always tension and stress when you are in that situation out of your area. And when the situation is not fully settled, you don't know whether you're going back to run the next day. You're under this constant stress and strain that you don't know how to settle in because you might have to run again. So we have to provide psychological counseling for people that they might be able to be adjusted in going back and settle down a little bit.
Let me share this with you, Honorable Straker. I work in the school system here in Georgia, and I am actually out for 2 months. Very fortunate. I have a job where I'm out for 2 months and I get paid for 2 months. So I'm just thinking that maybe I could do something on the level of a Zoom, something where you could have a meeting of people and I could speak or share. If you don't have, even if you have somebody there, I could work I could work hand in hand with them or those individuals. But I'd like to be able to help and to remind people of some very simple, basic truths that happens to us when that horrible word pops up: change.
Yes.
Bad change, any kind of change. So,
but as a teacher too, you can sensitize the young people in your school, in your class,
Well, it's difficult for me because I work with special needs children.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
yeah, and I don't work with the general population.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I was going to say that they too can
Play
partner
a part.
with a partner with a class or school
Right.
in St.
Right.
Vincent. But every little bit helps.
Right.
Wow.
One of the questions we're struggling with, you allowed me to ask again. Louis Stryker Jr., thank you very much for having your father on the show, actually. It's great to have somebody just coming up from St. Vincent to talk to, somebody of his stature as well.
Yes.
Really appreciate that. Thank you. But one of the questions our organization is struggling with right now, and it's a good problem, I guess, because we have, like I said, the response has been overwhelming. We recognize as a very reputable organization here. So we have collected a certain amount of cash donations. And bearing in mind that we want to be very apolitical, but we do want to try and deploy some of those funds in St. Vincent to help where it's needed. We've been, like I said, we've worked with the Rotary Club, Red Cross in the past, Marian House, Guadalupe Girls, just to mention some of the organizations, Catholic Church. But what advice could you give us in terms of how best to actually get some of that cash into the hands of the people who need it most in St. Vincent? Is there anything that you could add to what we might be doing?
Well, the best person to ask that question to is the director of NEMO, Michelle Forbes, because she would know the specific needs of each community and the various organizations that are there. So I think maybe you can touch base with her and let her know, because I was asked that same question by someone from Curacao.
Okay.
Collected money there. And I told them check with Michelle Forbes, and she might be able to give a better direction as to where the need might be greatest.
Okay.
Send in the money to the organizations in those areas.
Okay, we could do that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Panelists, do you have any questions or
Mr.
comments?
Lindsay. Yeah, Mr. Lindsay, I was going to ask a question of him. Well, there's a number of questions I had to ask. I'm right across I-4 from you in Tampa.
Okay.
And I hadn't heard a lot going on here on the West Coast. To raise money. I did my own thing. And I have relatives who were also helping, from Guyana, from Barbados, from Grenada. But I hadn't heard a lot that was going on over here. Does your effort stretch right down the I-4?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there are Caribbean organizations out in Tampa. As a matter of fact, just last week, we had a truck of supplies from one of those organizations. They came up. One of the things that's been good for us, let me just backtrack, is that, Mr. Stryker, you would know, one of the shippers from St. Vincent, Ricky Straighten, who has Swiftback Shipping. She ships out of Orlando, and they have a warehouse here. So he allowed us to use his warehouse and actually donated a large part of the cost of that 40-foot container to us. So what we did, we went out on Facebook, we went out to various organizations here to let them know what we were doing. I guess, your organization was not included in our outreach, but several organizations in Tampa are aware of us. And as I was saying just last week, we had a truck from Tampa, a U-Haul come up full of boxes and supplies from one of the organizations out there. I would appreciate maybe if after we have this conversation, if we kind of link up so that I can put you in touch with some of the people over there. It was great. I was able to hook up with one of my ex-school buddies, a guy called Ferris. I don't know if you know him. Vinci guy over there in Tampa. He has a soccer academy over there. So there are Vincentians over there. There are Caribbean people over there who actually contributed money and supplies to us. And I'm sorry we missed you, Chase.
Did you say Morris?
Ferris.
Okay.
Ferris.
Ferris.
Yeah. He was sort of one of my contemporaries from grammar school. So yeah, I mean, it was coast to coast, you know. We have a sister organization that's in South Florida. They also call the SVG South Florida Organization. And in fact, they coordinated with us, or they coordinated with us during this food drive. And we had several ongoing conversations with them. Yeah. But it would be good if we could sort of coordinate in a more comprehensive way going forwards.
Yeah, no, I you know, anything that you could give me. I mean, there's where I live in the North Tampa area. There's a very large Caribbean community here, and I didn't hear anything. You know, I would talk to my own relatives, and they say, "Well, we're doing this, we're doing the next thing, and the next thing," but that was it. Not a directed effort.
Right.
Just sort of a piecemeal.
Yeah, effort. A lot of it was piecemeal, but I must. Sorry, not to cut you off, but I must say that the consulate. Our consulate in New York actually put out a decent paper where they tried to indicate all the different organizations and groups that were actually raising supplies and money for St. Vincent. Of course, not everybody had access to that document, but they did put out a paper where they talked about what was needed and so forth. So they tried to do that. But yes, I know a lot of folks did individual stuff to get things to their family and so on, but not everybody was totally aware of what was happening over here. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, gentlemen. Folks, I would like to. We have to kind of close out this segment right now.
Dr. Judith, may I just ask Mr. Lindsay that in your preparing things to ship to St. Vincent, let us not forget those who are incapacitated that had to be moved out of the red zone, and many of them are staying with relatives. And one of their greatest needs is attends, pull-ups.
Oh, okay. Okay, diapers.
Yes.
We actually ship some of those, but yes, okay.
Yeah, and they're expensive in St. Vincent.
Okay.
So if you can remember that, that would be helpful.
I am making notes.
I want to say it's a great pleasure to be here. My son took me by surprise and just put me on here. And I told him I didn't like to go on any program where I wasn't well prepared because I don't know what question might be asked of me. And I didn't want to appear as a dum-dum. So, but I'm very happy to. Lindsay, where are you from?
Oh, man.
Do you know someone by the name of Lindsay?
I've heard the name. I do not think we're related. I'm a Lindsay originally from my father's side from Layu.
Bobsy Lindsay?
Bobsy's my uncle. Yes.
Making connections here, huh?
Bobsy's my uncle.
He taught me in a secondary school.
Oh, wow. Yeah, my uncle passed away some years ago. You probably know, in St. Vincent.
Which one?
Bobsy, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's my uncle.
You're from a big family there, the Grant family, the Andrew family.
The Grants, yes, on one side, yes.
All right, gentlemen.
You gentlemen
you have to end the segment.
You gentlemen are gonna have to connect privately because now you see you have a family history.
One more thing.
I'm
sorry, one more thing. What about the nebulizers and so on? Is that you guys are getting help on that aspect as well?
No, we always need those things for the clinics and the rural hospitals. They're always in need.
Okay.
So if you can send some, and because some clinics sometimes they have to send their stuff to the other clinic in order to get processed. But
okay, I just wanted to know that we touched on that the last time.
Yes.
And, back to Dr. Judith. We were talking about wrapping up. But I want to welcome you guys. Minister Straker Senior. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a year,
That
so
is correct, Sam.
thanks for coming on. And
Thank
Louis,
you.
good to see you again. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Lindsay, we'll certainly be in touch.
Thank you.
And Dr. Judith, take it from here. And
I just want to say again before we close out, first, it's a pleasure meeting your father, Pastor Straker. And I don't think you'd ever appear to be a dum-dum, never. But, and Mr. Lindsay, and listen, thank you all for the efforts that you're making. What I like about all this, it doesn't matter where you're from, we're all one.
Yes.
So it's a great thing that all this help is coming. So we thank you for coming on, and we will tell Mr. Henry how things went. I'm sure he'll look at the tape so he can see. I like the ambiance of all of this. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank
God
you.
bless.
Good
Take
night.
care.
All right.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Mhm.
Okay, folksies.
My name is Karin Forrester. I represent BantuKreations. BantuKreations offers beautifully made, African-inspired, lightweight, handcrafted, one-of-a-kind earrings in wonderful shapes, shades, sizes, and colors. Please don't be scared of the large sizes. They're extremely lightweight earrings. BantuKreations can be found on IG and on Facebook as BantuKreations. That's BantuKreations with a K.
Come check me out, chriskeys.com. I'm worldwide.
Tony Altamirano.
Hi, I'm Gina.
What's up, everybody? I'm Win Vu, award-winning remixer.
I'm an artist.
Hi, my name's Justina Bethel.
Hi, I'm Mike Bowen from Denton, Texas.
How you doing? This is Tom Cuff, Music by Tom Cuff. Check out Samuel E. Archer's book, Hybrid Executive. We are in the business, and here's how you can be a better business person because you're running your business.
You can find my music at JustinaBeth_EL on Instagram or JustinaBethel.com, and I am a hybrid executive.
I'm a hybrid executive.
I'm a hybrid executive, just like you.
Follow me at Koya Music, and I'm also a hybrid executive.
I'm worldwide, baby, but just know I'm a hybrid executive. That's all you need to know, baby.
Get on upbeat.
Check out my music, MikeBowen.com. I'm a hybrid executive.
I'm a hybrid executive.
Hello there and welcome. My name is Curtis Henry. Over the past few weeks, as we were putting the final pieces together to get the show on the road, some people ask, why do you need to showcase Caribbean people? Why Caribbean Chat? And I say, why not? Because we as Caribbean people have worked too hard, come too far, and suffered too long for us to continue taking a backseat. It's time for us to rise up, speak out, and show the world the value and the richness of our culture. So I'm providing a platform to showcase the history and culture of Caribbean people in entertainment, the arts, politics, sports, and economics. We will explore the many profound contributions they have made to society. So we invite you to stay with us as we launch what is to become one of the greatest voices of Caribbean people, for Caribbean people, by Caribbean people. On this platform, Caribbean people of excellence get to tell their story. Our aim is to ensure that your contributions are acknowledged and celebrated. Welcome to Caribbean Chat. So make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We are Caribbean Chat.
Hi, I'm Dr. Judith Barnes. I'm an author, a playwright, poet. I'm also a broadcaster by training, and I recently found out about 2 years ago that I can paint paintings, which means I paint sceneries, I paint landscape, I paint animals. I have just discovered, and so that I can do this. And so along with all the other gifts and talents that I've been blessed with, I have paintings, and they are on view and for sale on Etsy and also on Facebook. And if you desire to order any painting or order one of my books, because I'm also an author, please give me a call at 470-564-8267. That's Dr. Judith, and the number again, whether you want to just talk to me or order one of my paintings or one of my books, please feel free to call 470-564-8267. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Welcome back.
Okay, folks.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
No. What are we? We're discussing black-owned.
Are we
business?
doing our numbers first or what?
Oh, of course. Oh my gracious. I'm so sorry.
Come on, Sam.
I can't count me on 40. So go ahead, Sam.
What type of thing we are going on here tonight, boy? 10, 20, 30, 40, 5.
Whoa!
Wow.
Nonsense.
While we're at it, we want people to, those of you looking on, please hit the like button. If you didn't subscribe as yet, please hit the subscription button, smash it. Smash it.
I like when Curtis says smash the button, smash it.
Smash. All right. So, talk to us. What's happening over there?
Can I just interrupt 1 second? Mr. Mark Chase, would you like to do your promo? That way we can just flow right in. How's that?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
By all means.
And your shout out.
My company is Chase Audit Services. I am, you need to watch yourself. Yeah.
I'm reminding you.
I provide services for both commercial and individuals who are facing audits, may have financial difficulties or accounting difficulties. Easy to reach over Facebook, and your business is private with me, and we take care of your problems. That's what I do.
All right.
Thank you,
What about the shout out, Mark? What about the shout out?
Oh my goodness, my baby girl, my niece Sage performed at the Apollo, and her show was shown today, and she's got a voice that brings tears to my eyes, and I'm so proud of her. So Sage, go on, tear it up. And you're moving, you're starting a job in Nashville, and you're doing it, girl. You're doing it. I'm proud of you.
Mr. Chase, that's great news. That's great news about your niece, but even better, you cry? I didn't know that was possible. Anyway.
Maybe something that took him. Maybe something that took him in 9 leg. Yeah.
You can make me cry. You can make me cry.
Maybe something that took him in 9 leg. You do like anyway.
Don't use that word juke to
me. Know, right? It's after mistake. Realizing it's after.
You know what's amazing? I have never met this man, and I know him so well. So I think if I'm correct here, we're gonna be doing. We have some people already online listening, and I don't know if anybody's making comments yet. But are we tonight gonna kind of have a preamble to talk about black business, black-owned business?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't necessarily really planned out like that. It just sort of flowed, which was a beautiful thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there anybody here wants to start to make a comment about owning a business? Just give it a little, whether it's inspiration or information, or inspiration and information about starting a business.
I'm going to take that on. Decide on a product or service that will add value to people's lives.
Sometimes you love something, but when you really survey, is there a niche? Is there a group? Is there a target demographic that will appeal to? Do they need something? Are you going to be filling a need for a group of people? You know what I mean? And if you can say no to that, then you got to scratch it and look at it differently. You have to provide a service or a product that people absolutely need.
What about a service or a product that people they need but they don't want to pay for?
But if you can show them that you're adding value to their lives, in the end, they don't even care about the dollars, really. You know?
Let me tell you one of the things, like I kept suggesting to Pastor Straker and his father, is that I'm always trying to get Black folks into some mode and some attitude of receiving counsel. And it always gets brushed aside. It always gets, and I'm not saying he did that. I'm just saying
I get it. I get
that it's like the last thing on our minds.
It's in the water. No matter which island you're talking about, it's in the water.
We drink too heavy. We drink too heavy.
Oh God.
Yeah.
No, man.
Yeah.
Especially the male sex, but you know, it's no bashing. It's just a statement of fact.
It is. It is.
You know. I don't want to hear you, Karin.
Listen to me. Listen to me. This truth shall set you free.
It's just a statement of fact. If when I was in a clinical setting, if I stepped on the floor and heard a patient saying, I will not take this pill, I will not do this, I'm not going to therapy, believe me, it's an islander. Take me at my word, it's an islander. Yeah. If you want to give them hot tea and a couple of, a bit of food that they can say, all right, okay, nurse, all right, me go.
Sorry.
But before oh no,
there
it's
was a man
fighting.
My wife was taking care of at the time, and he was from Guyana. Now he had.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you, Mark. I just have I could control it, but I'm not going to control it.
No.
This is the man always talking to me foolishness, right? And never has he said my ex-wife. You think me an idiot? Go ahead, continue talking. Go on, you start.
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm gonna talk to you about that later. Don't worry.
Talk.
And he was from Guyana, and he used to cuss bad to everybody. And he had no legs. They had amputated his legs. I going home. I got my car keys. I gonna drive, and I going home.
If you don't mind shopping, use a crutch. A crutch to push that pedal.
Yes.
Believe you me, man.
Listen. He broke the bed, and turned the what do you call the thing? It's supposed to keep you in the bed on his side.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Turn it on the side, and he hopping through the thing, and my wife look at it and say, "Look, boy, you ain't going nowhere, because I'm gonna kick this thing from underneath you, and it's the next time you cuss me, I'm gonna kick you next."
What?
Now, where you going on 2 stumps and a piece of steel, and you gonna start the car? Once he recognized that not only did she understand all of the cusses that he was,
she ain't gonna take it. She ain't gonna take it.
Right. He said, "Oh my God,
respect is developed right there."
I'm sorry. She said, "No. If you want pepper with your food, I give you pepper with your food."
What's funny, if you bring stuff from home, you have to know, this is talking about target demographic. If you bring the food from home or you bring the pepper from home, the real deal. Oh God, the best behaved person for them.
Yeah.
The man was the nicest man Miss Chase is here. Oh, how are you? How are you,
Hey,
Miss
Mr. Chase. Mr. Chase.
Yeah.
Rewind, father. We depend small business, sir. All right.
Yeah,
We will come back to Target. Go.
This is the interesting part, is that it allowed her to understand something, actually, which is why I mentioned it, to start a business.
Yeah.
She had an understanding of what it is we need, not
of who
to
you're
be.
serving. You must know who you're serving. Absolutely. Know their habits. A lot of the people that I've seen, and I've listened to a lot of people. I was actually telling Curtis there's so many voices from all the people I've listened to in the last couple of months, trying to learn as much as possible. But what some messages are consistent in that, as you stated, know the people you are serving, know their habits, know what they like to eat, know where they go, know, even if you look at their websites, you will find that you can learn about, depending on what service you're providing, but know what type of movies, what type of books, because people put that information on their social network websites. And so you have a better idea of how to approach them, what will appeal to them. You know what I mean? So that's really important. Know your target demographic.
Two really important people in my life. They weren't good people. They were hustlers. They were pimps. They understood their demographic and served them well. And they said to me, "We're gonna write a book for you." And that book was a little one of the little tiny notebooks, you write down your assignments in. And on the first page, it said, "These are the rules." It said page 1. Ain't no rules out here. Page 2, refer to page 1.
Oh dear.
And that was what they gave me. But it really showed me something. It really showed me something. Now, these were not nice men. They were not nice men. I ain't gonna mention it because 2 of the kids are listening and probably giggling right now. They understood their demographic, and they understood where they sat as Black men in America that couldn't do anything different. They had to deal with an underground economy. And I think, in a sense, as an economist, we all deal with an underground economy. The question is, how do we bring it to the surface? Sam deals in music.
Yeah.
All right. When I was a young man, there was music and then R&B, Black music. Y'all get over there. All right. And there were certain people who got to the top of music despite the fact they were Black.
Because true talent can't be denied.
Can't be denied.
No matter how they try to push you down.
But what about? But let me ask you a question, Mr. Chase.
Sure.
What about R&B? What about music, especially in the time when R&B was a big thing? What about the business aspect of it, and how lousy we were at it? We could sing, we had the talent and the gift, and a lot of people used us. A lot of people abused us, and we never, just like our sports figures in the past, our boxers, that people use the gifts and talents, and we're just glad to be identified and have the car and the pretty girl and whatever. So the business aspect of it got lost.
I'm so glad you just mentioned that. I'm so happy you just mentioned that. When you and I were jitterbugs, yeah, she was a jitterbug one time, darling. You know,
one time.
We had no access to what was required to do what needed to be. You know, that's why you got Michael Manchesky or Chess Records that had all of these great R&B singers and reggae singers, and running a little storefront out of Baltimore, but had access to capital. Which but even now, if you try to go, Sam, you could get a PPP loan for at least $150,000
with good credit.
No.
Not
to be good. You will be riding that horse so hard. The horse is sweating. You're sweating. You got sweaty behind. You're soaked, and you just keep riding.
Get into that sweaty behind.
But
one out of every 100. 1 out of every 100 will get it.
Even the Black business owners who were able to sort of scrape themselves up turned out to be predators against their own. I think that is probably the worst historically. You know.
Yes.
You know?
Let me share this with you. Real quickly. In the school where I work, the principal is a Black guy. I have lots of respect and admiration for him, but he's so determined to be the Black principal of the century.
Yeah.
And he's good. But what I find with him, when I first went there, I was just agog, and I'm very verbal, and I looked at the very floors you could eat off of it. I mean, this building was awesome. And I just tell him, I said, you know, Dr. P, I want to tell you, this building, I mean, this is awesome. The way it's been taken care of and everything. And what I find with Black folks is, in business, when we find one of us in business, we tend to be slackers. We don't do, like a lot of the teachers there, because he's Black, they don't feel they have to obey certain rules.
Really?
They don't feel they have to do certain things because he's Black. Not understanding that they're bringing him down by behaving that way. But let me tell you what bothered me and still bothers me is these young athletes. And he's very big on promoting the athletes in our school, and they're passing them on and they're not doing well academically. And I remember they were having, you know, these things when they leave in high school and they're going to sign these contracts or whatever, and they have these meetings and the schools coming to recruit them and all this stuff, the colleges. And I went up to him and I just, being me, I said to him, I said, you know, Doc, this is good. I said, but I wish we would talk to our youngsters who are entering the sports field professionally. They need guidance. They need to be told. See, that's a business that I could do. That's a business that I could make money at. Saying, listen, you got to be careful who you hang around with. You got to be careful where you go, because people are going to be coming after you for money and fame and all the rest of it. And
I don't get any financial instruction.
No,
right? You do have some people who are out there. I'm going to show my age now. Walt Frazier, Earl Monroe, who have been guiding young men, including guys like LeBron James and a number of other athletes, guiding them, saying, look, first of all, yeah, you got a bonus. Got a $10 million bonus.
Act like you didn't get it.
Yeah, you know, just don't. And guiding them through people like Wes Unseld, who have been through this. So there are people out there.
Not enough.
But what I'm saying is that we're talking about at the grassroots. I'm just saying to him,
they start
can
these,
we do something with them? Yeah, can we do something at that level?
Yes, absolutely. And there are.
But he wasn't interested.
There aren't enough.
Yeah,
there just aren't enough. There aren't enough.
He want me out. Yeah, he didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about it.
Somebody wore you out.
People who
no,
want
I said he walked me out.
He walked you out. Oh,
not wore me out.
People who are Sam can speak to this. Sam, people who are trying to start a business and think that they have to recreate the wheel, so to speak. There's so many templates that have been proven successful by other, business-minded people such as yourself, that people can just, use as their template, as a way to sort of navigate. No matter what business you're talking about, this is your opportunity.
This is my opportunity.
Talk about the hybrid executive. Boy,
well, yeah, it's
She said you're good, Sam.
Yeah, that's a good layup. Very, very good layup. So, in terms of our topic and everything, I'll say it this way: I'm in the phase where you have to really believe in what it is you're doing. You have the first phase where you have the vision, you have the passion, and you build and you create and you promote and you get things done. You go through the work in creating what it is. In this case, it was a book, but it could be anything. It could be whatever business it is. And then now you have that stage where you have to connect with your audience. And really learn the landscape. So yes, there is a little landscape that you already have in terms of people that know you, people that know the services you provide. So in my case, some folks might want performance tracks, they might want production, they might want recording, they might want mastering, they might want things. Some might want the website, some might want graphic designs. So some of my services, or most of them, they're pretty much in the same dimension, so to speak, depending on what you would need. And that's another thing you want to do. You want to sort of you don't want to spread yourself too thin, because that's another thing. It's spreading yourself too thin, especially if you have a small staff or no staff, is going to do work. So you don't want to be too far out where you're doing construction and then the next day you're cooking food. So you want to sort of bring everything close that you have to learn. But so for right now, yes, I'm in the phase where I'm stepping out from the comfort zone, or should I say there's the folks that know of me and know what I do. And then now I'm actually getting into that other echelon now where it's people that I literally don't know. I'm stepping into another degree of separation where it's just about what it is I do. And now you're meeting new people and you're meeting new and it's sort of like so it's like I'm actually breaking another egg. It's like every stage you go, you're breaking an eggshell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm breaking this other eggshell, and once that shell is broken, it brings me in a whole other dimension of me pushing my business and pushing my brand.
Sorry, yes. Let me ask you this. What about fear? What about fear in having a business? I don't know, a lot of people talk about, but there's a fear of success that some people have. I've had that, so I know what I'm talking about that way. But how about in the business that you started? What part does fear play in it, or does it play any part at all? Fear of failure, or fear of success?
At this stage of the game, I'm in the ocean. I
Okay.
can't worry about fear right now. I mean,
Okay.
it's do or die. Like, you know, I'm invested. I'm committed into it.
Good.
I'm not leaving any room for the swim back. I'm swimming out,
Okay.
and you know, so the whole fear thing. Fear is when you're about to jump in. When you jump, it's like it's do or die. You know, so but I understand the question because a lot of folks and it's normal to have certain questions because you're going into an unknown. It's really an unknown thing. You know, so you try to lean on people who've been in the business. They will give you some tips. You try to lean on people who jumped in and probably fail. So, you know, they will give you a little bit of something. And you try to find a balance between what, you know, those who've gone before, those who failed, those who won, and then, you know, even some of the people that we look at in the magazine and in the news who's doing well. And you're like, okay, you look at what you know, you look at a few interviews and see, well, what did they do and how did they face this? And now you can actually say, all right, you know what, I have enough information that I can actually jump in. And then now when you jump in now, then you got to realize, oh, I got to breathe this way when I'm in here. I got to stand this way when I'm in here. I got to, you know.
So it's after you jump in that you learn skills.
I want to ask this question. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I got a little delay.
Go ahead.
I'm, you know, all three of you are professionals, artists in a sense. You're all artists. I feel like the blacksmith. I don't do nothing but pound the iron and, you know, shoot a horse or whatever the hell I gonna do. Right? I think the interesting part is, do you each as artists have to follow a template? Do you have to follow? For me, there is no template. It's my iron, it's my hammer. I create what I wish.
No, the template is not about your particular art form. It's about the business aspect of things. That's the template I was mentioning. That there are so many templates that have been proven successful by many people. You just have to decide which fits you for your particular art form or business. That's the template I was talking about.
But there's another side to that, I think, Karen. Or create a new template altogether.
If you have to. If you have to.
Yeah, because that's what I think a lot of people get stuck where they get stuck in terms of having a business, is that to some degree we want to replicate what we have seen in somebody else or, you know, in another person doing business or whatever. And what we have to understand, especially in the arts, the creativity and the mindset is different. So what we have to be careful is not trying to duplicate people. I mean, I always say to people, I wear a size 9 medium shoes. If I wear a size 7, I'm going to be hurting. And when I'm walking, you're going to know that I got the wrong size shoes on. So I don't create anything. I don't do anything with anybody that's in mind how they did what they did.
As I said,
the
template I'm talking about. I'm sorry, 1 second, Ron. The template I'm talking about is not about the art form. Your art
what you're
form.
talking. It's about the business form.
Yeah, just the business structure. It's
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
When we look at, all right, Karin, you and I lived in Stuyvesant Town, but the other two people here are from Brooklyn, where I was, and they had Hirschberg and Company, which was a big CPA firm on Beverly Road, and they had a big neon sign, Hirschberg and Son, CPA. Now, there was some West Indian business in that area. Where did they go? Hirschberg.
That's some conditioning crap.
They got
Really
their
is.
taxes done. They
Yeah.
got everything done. Now I saw that from like 8 years old. I said, you know what? I'm gonna be Hirschberg. I'm gonna be Hirschberg.
Something that Sam said earlier about, I think that what's important in a new startup company, seeking out someone a mentor in your area who's highly successful. In real estate, realtors, brokers, whoever in real estate business, always talk about location. In this industry that we're, as new business people, we're talking about relationship. Building relationships is essential.
Yes.
And don't burn those bridges. That would be a huge mistake. Building relationships is absolutely essential as a new business person.
That's true.
Starting out. And Sam, I know that Sam knows so many people, but it took time to really build on the. I'm sure you can pick up a phone and call almost anybody and say, hey, such and such and such, and I need somebody on my podcast, or I need whatever, and that person is there or will try to be there. Relationships are extremely important.
Amen and amen. Wow.
Yeah, but I was just gonna add that in this presently what's happening too is that and I talk about that in hybrid executive, is that the shift has changed from what was more of a physical industry, or should I say a physical business model, and now it's more of a digital business model. So now you in a way have to create how you want your thing to work. So you have to look at what's happening in the industry, what people are doing, what is the trend in the market, what opportunities you have, what can threaten your business. So you got to look at all of that now and say, okay, so people are mostly using their mobile devices now, opposed to sitting down at the desktop. So that's a factor. The other thing is, okay, how are people listening to music now? Are they actually running to the store to check out the new stuff, the latest from Whitney Houston, or the latest from Lionel Richie, or the latest from Sting, or the latest from? They're not doing that anymore.
If there's a recent one from Whitney, I don't.
Right. So
we on
the wrong side.
Now it's about, instead of it being about the artist, now it's about a mood. So it's they create the playlisting, and it's either going to be a happy mood or a melodramatic mood, or a joyous mood, or a melancholy mood, or a sad mood, or a bluesy mood, and you're going to have a playlist where you probably don't even know 60% of who the artists are. Now you got to know this was a nice song. Who was this? Or this was a nice song. Who was that? So that's sort of like how the conversation is right now. And then that's just nice for that moment. And then next week is a whole new thing. So just imagine how much effort you as an artist are putting into your craft. For someone to listen to it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and that's it. You don't have a machinery that keeps ponging it on the radio, ponging it on the TV, ponging it here, ponging it there, putting it in a commercial for you to hear it. I mean, who has time to sit and watch TV now?
Let me ask you a question, Sam.
Cable.
Sam, in your business, suppose somebody approach you from a high school, and they have music programs at schools. They have they have acting groups, they have chorales and stuff like that in high school. Suppose a principal or a teacher approached you and said, well, I understand you have a business, and we have some students who want to get into the business side of music. They want to see what you do in the studio. They want to see, I don't know if they use terms like this anymore, like see you mixed, I mean, that's old stuff. But suppose somebody approached you from a school and said, would you take in a couple interns each semester? Would you, because that's a contribution, that's a form of mentoring. Would you, as a business owner, be willing to do that? Because that's practical help. Would you be willing to do something like that?
When things are running to full capacity, yes, I can. That's doable because now I would have some form of infrastructure. So when they come in, there's a certain
for them to do
exercise you can give them. You say, "All right, guys, sweep the studios. Okay, go get the team coffee. All right," and there are basic things that you have to do just to get acclimated, and then now you can say, "All right, you know what, engineer X is going to be in studio A. He's going to be wiring up the board. He's going to direct that class or direct that session. Go hang with him and learn how to do that." Or someone is setting up a podcast room. You need to know how to set up the mic. You need to know how to set this up. You need to know how to set up the camera. Da 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 da. So then you have a group doing that as well. So it all depends on how engaging the program is. But I'm presently now I can't do an intern because I'm still establishing what my infrastructure is going to be.
But then, okay, let me disagree with you. Let me disagree with you there. You could do it because remember you don't have to pay an intern. And let me say why I'm saying that. As you're structuring, that's what they need to know. They need to know. They need to see you how you started. They need to see the basics, the rudimentary setup. So they'll be they don't need to see you just when you have everything together, and they need to see you how you the blood, sweat, and tears.
You're correct. You're correct. But what I'm saying is that would probably okay if I do that now, it's probably going to be like a 1-day thing or maybe
that's okay.
But if I'm thinking intern, I'm thinking somebody's coming in every day.
No, don't have to be.
And they see,
1 day is enough.
Because they can actually see they could see the beast a little bit better if there's a if they're coming in for let's say it's a summer thing and they're coming in at such certain times, then I think that would be beneficial. But yeah, I mean, if it's a 1-day situation, it might just be a day I'm doing an album cover for somebody, or it might be a day where I'm doing a song. So Let
me tell you why I'm saying that. Because when you're doing business, it's not just when you get to the core, when you get to the recording, it's about how to come in. Even I watch the barbers, how they come into their store. They come in and they sweep first and they clean down the machines and they do all. So if somebody wants to be a barber, because I've been to this barber shop and I see these little young guys coming and they're learning. If somebody wants to be a barber, that's their goal. They need to see, it ain't just about cutting hair. It's about coming in early, making sure the shop is set up, making sure the place is swept, making sure the combs and everything is washed and sterilized. All of that is part of being an excellent business person.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying that. And so they need to see the whole flow.
And the
then
relationship.
That's when a lot of people
how they relate to their customers is essential.
Yeah, all of that.
I do it a little bit differently. If there's a kid that is interested in audit, economics, whatever, going to school, I immerse that kid. Completely immerse them. Completely. Come sit next to me. Watch what I'm doing. Watch how I am speaking to this person. I'm not worried about, them doing journal entries and because they're going to understand it.
Right.
If I show them from my perspective, and within 5 days, they'll say, oh, when they move the money from this section to that section, that's a journal entry. You got it. You got it. Okay. I don't go with that. I go with immersion, not starting, organize this, this item And I see Sherry Ann said, learn to crawl before you walk. But, you know, that's been a lot of problems with our people. You know, we already knew how to walk. We got dragged over to another country. We already knew how to walk. Okay.
Sorry.
No, please.
Can we address something that I think everyone can relate to as if you're a new business, new to business? The 500-pound, I won't say 500-pound elephant in the room. Marketing. Marketing is probably the most challenging thing if you do not have prior knowledge, experience with it. And I hear other people echoing the same thing, which is like, wow, people have tried individuals. And when they move to agents, big marketing agencies, they realize that their care is not personalized. So they end up moving back. And same, just as you were saying, Dr. Judith, to have one person maybe who knows digital marketing be your person for your business, that may be the way to go for quite a few new business owners. You know, somebody who's dedicated to your cause and who's constantly on top of what your needs are. You know.
Well, the other elephant in the room is Black folks who want to buy something
I'm
from
listening,
Black folks.
My girl.
And this is a 1,000-pound elephant. And when my brother Jeff in New York started his law practice over 30-something years ago, maybe 40 now, he had an office in the Bronx. He's closed the office now, but he had an office in the Bronx. And one of the problems he had was a guy, I can't remember his name right, but it's a Jewish guy. Say his name was Hirschberger, whatever. I can't remember his name right now. And what happened is that the Jamaicans mostly would come to his office and he would say, I will charge you $75 for the consult. And they come in and they start, Mr. Barnes, you can't just give me a little break on that, man. And then they would have been downtown already and gave Hirschberger $300 for the consult. And they argue about paying him $75. And a whole lot of stuff that he had to go through. I mean, he built up a practice after a while. After 40 years, he did pretty good. But initially, we still have this problem of going to somebody that looks like us to ask for logical information. Listen to the term, logical information. Information that can prosper you. All that stuff. We still have an issue.
Doesn't that go to self-value more than the person that you're approaching? If you valued yourself and as a person of color, as a Black person, whatever race we're talking about, if you truly value yourself, you can probably look at the person who looks like you and value that person. But if you're not valuing yourself, then from a psychological perspective, what are you thinking on that?
I agree. If we grew up, and a lot of us did, sorry, Sam.
No problem.
But if we grew up, and a lot of us did, if we grew up with any question about the value of our color or the valuelessness of our color, if we grew up that way, then it's not gonna. And then every commercial, every business place you see, if it's not a white person, it's a light-skinned person. And so we start identifying with knowledge and success. And with information comes with light and white. So it's still a struggle. It's hard for Black people to come to me for counseling.
I have a theory. It's worked for me so far, and I call it challenge. Challenge. Okay. So and so is going to charge $350 to consult with. I'm going to do it for free. You come talk to me. Here's what you're doing wrong. I'm not going to give the whole picture. I'm going to give a piece of the picture. Now, go to the white man, go to the light-skinned man, see if I'm wrong. Of course, he's going to say the same thing, or she's going to say the same thing. Now I'll name my price. It's a challenge. There is unfortunate, horribly unfortunate thought that, you know, if you're white, you're right. If you're brown, hang around. If you're black, get back.
Well,
you know,
just to also interject. I'm sorry, Dr. You're saying something?
No, I wanted you to speak. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So what I learned to do over the years, but I like what Mark said, because it's not really anything specific. It's sort of like it's a flow that comes, because when they come to you, you know, there's a certain expectation. So it sort of comes with a flow, but you need to break that flow, you know. And one of the ways I do to break the flow is that I will just ask that person honestly, am I doing this? You're asking me this as a favor, or am I doing this for love? Or you're asking me this on a business level? And I think once I break that flow, then the person has to think now, okay, am I going to pay him for this job? Or, right? So now in a way you push the ball back in their court, and you know the ball is in your hand. Where you see me helping you with this? Or what, you know, is it, am I helping you, or is it a job we're going to talk about? So if you're going to have a business conversation, then I say, okay, we're having a business conversation. All right. And then now we start having that business conversation. If it's a love thing, then I say, look, love would only take you so far. You know, I can give you a break so far. You're still going to have money to do the other stuff, because it's, you know, I'm not just doing everything. It's not just a one-stop shop. Here, it's one part of it is here, but the other parts, you got to cover that. So if you can't even cover those other things, then you need to go wheel and come again, so that those things could be covered.
Stop. Let me just stop you there. What I'm hearing you say, you tell me if I'm correct or incorrect. What I'm hearing you say is that you're establishing boundaries. You're establishing a relationship. You're saying, because what happens to a lot of us, we'll say, no, I can do that for you. But there's no boundary setting in terms of, this is business. This is the business that I do.
Correct.
Yeah, I can do that for you. But for that one, I charge $75. For that particular thing, I charge $50. Because once you let the conversation go on, you mentioned love. Once you let the conversation go on without setting those boundaries, now you're doing somebody a favor. And
well,
before
again,
you know it.
So, for example, that conversation would probably depend on the relationship I have with that person. Because if there's no relationship, it's basically business at that point.
Well, business is a relationship too, but
if it's a neighbor that, you know, they have barbecue, they share, you have barbecue, you share. Some people feel that you ever watch Pursuit of Happiness, and Will Smith character have this guy who owe him $11 or $15.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and then so Will Smith's character gets evicted, and then he asks the guy to give him a ride because he's asking him as a friend. So now the friend thinks, okay, well, the $15 I owed you is in this drop I gave you to turn the corner for you to move over here. You know, so you have all these different dynamics.
You have to have communication.
I'm sorry?
So you have to have clear communication about what you're doing.
You have to be clear. So, you know, and for example, if the person changed my Pampers, they have a different deal.
Very different.
You know, it's a different deal. So if, you know, so I would say, well, since you didn't change my Pampers, this is your deal. Since you changed my Pampers, a lot of times it's a free deal. It's like, you know what, I'll come and handle that for you.
What about if they promise to change your Pampers in 20 years or 30 years?
Well, I haven't gone to that part yet.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Listen,
my question would be why can't everything be business? I don't.
That's not the nature of human beings.
It should.
That's not the nature. That's not the nature of human beings.
Approach. If for instance, someone comes to me, oh, I got a problem. I'm about to be audited by the IRS. Blah blah blah. Okay. They're coming to me looking for something for free. Well, the one thing I learned from the two hustlers in my life, a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. So give them a little bit, just that much, just that much. All right. Now we have a business relationship. Oh, you want the rest? And I challenge them. I say, look, I know you wanted to go to whomever, but you came to me because you thought you could get it for nothing. Now, as Sam said, if it's a friend of mine, it's free. I'm nothing that I own belongs to me. Because I can't take it with me. But if it's business, you're coming to me to try to get something for nothing. Yeah, I'll give you just enough. Go check me out. Go, if I'm wrong, go elsewhere.
And I've had to also deal with the race card. I've had, I used to live in, of course, in New York, and when I would give my prices, I just learned that they went to some white guy out in Long Island and record.
Ain't that a kicking?
Now then when I hear the project and I'm smiling and laughing, I'm like, okay, well, I guess they're happy with that. And it's unfortunate that this is what we're dealing with, but it is part of it comes with a package.
I think my camera just went out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you. It's just that we're seeing.
Can't see you.
A 45 record.
Can't see you, but we're hearing you.
You see, Dr. Judith. That's all right. I'm gonna talk to you.
I know we're gonna.
We're dealing with when you come from the Black experience, it's a little bit different to what everyone else is accustomed to. So if you're going to survive in the game, you have to just be aware of just
the games
just
people play.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta understand that and just know how to maneuver these things, and and sometimes I haven't done it recently, but sometimes I will just have a pro bono percentage for a particular time, and then if someone else needs that, I'll say, hey, what, my pro bono sector is full.
It's full.
It's helping a lot of people. You're gonna have to handle it on this side this time around, and then next time around they may end up in the pro bono sector because it's empty, and but somebody had to pay at some point.
You talk about personal and you talk about business, and let me just share this with you quickly. Many years ago, when I lived in New York, Jeff, my brother, used to do a lot of play out. He used to play out, play out music at clubs in Brooklyn, particularly. And sometimes he'd have a big dance, and I would go, or my sister would go, and we'd pay to get in. And the flyer says Jeff Barnes music mix and whatever. So we named Barnes too. So I'd pay to get in, and he'd say, no, you can't. I said, no, you had to rent this place. You had to pay for this place in order to have this dance. I'm paying to come in. And at first, he didn't like the idea of it. But I have a business sense. I don't care how personal it is. I have a very strong business mind. And so I believe that if you're having a function, like a band would come to play, and one man bring a stick, one man bring a cymbal, the other one bring a drum, piece of the drum, and everybody come in for free because it's part of the band.
Mm-hmm.
And I challenged a guy one night. I was at the door collecting. I said, no. That stick don't qualify you to come in here. You gotta pay. So it's something that I have a problem with our people. I don't want to hear which part of the band you're playing. Pay.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, you know. So, but it's something that we ourselves, and I think Karin said it best. If you value yourself, you will value people that look like you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us don't value ourselves, so we're not going to value the work. Because I was like, you sure you know what you're doing? You know, they come to you.
No, but Dr. Judith, let me tell you how deep this thing run. You will know somebody who does a certain trade.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just being hypothetical, not you. Okay, you know they do this trade. Let's say they do fence or they do.
Yeah, man. I do fence too. Yeah, all right.
And you know that this guy, he'll do a good job for you.
Right.
And some of our folks would say, "Man, when he get our money, you know, may I think he should get our money. He have mortgage. He had the money I given him is to pay all of it, and me paying that for he."
There you go.
And sometimes I'm wondering, okay, well, the person you give the job, does it really matter what they do with the money you pay them?
None of your
But
business.
because
None
you
of your
know
business.
the man business,
Yeah.
and you know that things rough, and he had to pay his mortgage and he cannot and whatever.
Yeah, man.
You don't want to give him that money. And I'm like, well, he wasn't coming to do the job for free. Do you really care what he do with the money?
Yeah, man.
And
not help you pay for no Mercedes.
This is about not everybody, but some people have that mentality. It's like, well, I had to pay his mortgage for him.
Yeah.
I had to buy groceries for each children, or I had to buy Pampers for them.
Yeah, man.
But it's not your business what the man had to do with the money. He come in and do a work for you.
You ever have a party at your house?
We cannot see you, Mark.
Your ass. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. I'm not gonna bother.
It's vibrating. Hey, Mark, it's vibrating.
I talk to you later about that mindset.
Oh shit. The amount of later you have, you know, you sound like them black people. You always have promise.
Yeah, but don't worry. I keep my promises.
Don't worry about it. Say what you have to say.
Listen, you have a party at your house and you say everybody bring something.
Oh Lord.
And it's one person, bring a really nice dish, and the next person bring a really nice dish, and then you get the somebody else who just brings some damn pickles. And you sitting there, you got all of this nice food on the table, but is the one person just bring some pickle something,
Pickle pepper.
And they think they're bad, They come in, man. They got 2 jars, and they're ready.
But you ever watch it? But Mark, you ever watch? They never eat what they bring, They eat what everybody else bring.
They don't say last. They not eat any. That's right.
And 2 jars of pickled pepper sit there and people open it up and, oh man, I can't do that. I don't know what.
Mark, this is really weird to be talking to a blank screen.
Like a 45
sign off and sign back in, no man.
This is
okay,
a show.
All right.
Before we close out, I wanted to mention a couple of things. Like when you're starting a new business, 3 or 4 social media websites, and to make sure that you're posting daily. Depends on what you're offering, definitely, but make sure you're posting daily. Keep yourself relevant. Keep yourself in front of the audience that you're hoping to attract.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. A face. to
Yes,
match the
this
voice.
is working. Okay. All right.
So
Yeah,
the mechanics of starting a business, the mechanics of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, marketing, big time, big time. And who do we look at for marketing? Do we look at, let me stop, let me go on to something else, because I'm going to go out to the same thing again. Because if somebody's advertising that look like me, I might not
It's
pay much
changing.
attention.
It is changing a bit on
Yeah.
social media. It is definitely changing. People
And
are more attracted to people looking like themselves, offering the
it's
services that they want. It is
and
definitely changing on social media.
what else is changing? That's probably let me tell you what happened when Obama was in office, when he won. I don't know if you guys paid attention to what happened socially and in relationships between men and women. When Obama won, all of a sudden it was okay for white men to be seen with black women in social settings. I mean, it increased at a phenomenal rate.
Really?
Oh yeah, interracial weddings shot up.
So as a clinician, how did you evaluate that?
Listen,
how did you assess that? Let's put it that way.
Listen, let me put it to you this way. Most black people have a desire to say they have a light-skinned person around them.
Oh,
Whereas
gosh.
the auntie or
Really?
the uncle,
Wow.
yes. And they want to say the child have good hair. Listen, these are real. These
It's
are
true.
real things.
That I've heard.
These are real.
That I've heard.
Okay. So a lot of black women who are getting involved with white guys are doing it for the mixture. And some of them are disappointed because the picnic come out just as black as she and the hair negroid. So that a lot of that changed when Obama came in, because here's this black man mixed married to this black woman, and it made a big difference. In the South, in Georgia here, I mean, I saw dark-skinned women darker than me with these white guys all of a sudden in cars with the top down. I was like, hey, this something. It became a rage. So what has been happening? If you watch the commercials on television now, look at how many interracial couples are on television. It is phenomenal. The amount of white men and black women that you see in commercials, in TV shows, it's on the rise. So the thing is that if you see enough people looking like you, being successful and whatever, hopefully it does change at some point. But
Dr. Judith, you just plucked me. You plucked me. You know, I spent 40 years cutting my hair off, because the barber said, "Well, you gonna cut your hair off for, man? You got the good hair."
Good hair, yeah, man.
And look, I said, shave it. Why? I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it.
You're just strange. That's all.
Oh,
well,
no.
you know, it's what everybody is dealing with something. You know, I saw a picture with Serena Williams recently, and she looks lighter than usual.
Yeah, a lot of them are lightening up.
You know, yeah, you know, we have that issue, and it plays a role in how we do business too. Believe it or not,
yes, it does.
It does play a certain level of what it is you're dealing with when you're doing business. But
watch Viola Davis.
Marketing, though, in reference to marketing, I think our folks are now understanding why it's important to have marketing. You know, 5 years ago, I would tell people about marketing, and they didn't want to. They didn't want to even be messing with it. It's like, nah, we got just, we finished going to have the CD, and we have people are going to buy, and da.
Yeah, man.
We need no this, and we need no that, and whatever. I've been told that, and then I said, okay, no problem, right? Now, some of these same people are saying, hey, I need a website, and I need a Facebook page, and I said, well, have yourself, think nice, and I really need I said, what changed now? What make you, well, so it wasn't even about, they were following a different, different narrative at that point. Now they see the importance of having that marketing, of having that other arm that could handle digital marketing, that could do email blasts, that could do biography development, that could do press release, that could do their one sheet. I tell them, look, you need real pictures. Go and do a real photo shoot. No selfie business here. You gotta have a professional thing that when you see the picture, it looks good, and we can use that as your the selfie good for the gallery part of the website. You have a little picture gallery, and in the park, and you're performing somewhere, and you're meeting and greeting. Yes, selfie that. But if it's something where you're promoting your brand, get a photo shoot. Get that $300, $400, $500. Pay a professional photographer. Get a photo shoot. So when I'm putting your thing on the net, it looks good. So those are things that folks are now paying attention to. They say, all right, I really need to get this, I really need to get that, and da 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 da. And okay, so folks are finally coming around. Mark your camera.
I think he did it this time.
But let me say this because we're gonna wrap up soon, right?
Myself,
Yeah. Listen,
I'm seeing myself.
You see yourself? Okay, maybe it will work out. Yeah, maybe.
Karin asked me a question earlier about when I made remark about Obama and whatever. She asked me, and I didn't really answer it. One of the things that Obama becoming president did, it gave Black folks the understanding and that we are somebody. I was downtown when they chose him, when they selected him to be the Democratic nominee. And WNPR radio was on the street, and I was one of the people they interviewed. And they asked me, what did I feel? I said, listen, I feel good to know that somebody's going to be in that house that looks like me. Mm-hmm. So the identification for me was great. I mean, I've always been pretty healthy about, I've been called blackie and foolishness by Black people, but I was never offended because I thought, well, I am Black, so what's the problem? I thank God I had enough sense not to be offended by it, but I also knew the origin of it, the reason why Black folks do that. So one of the things that I do in business and in personal life is to tell Black people, stop looking to white people for approval. They're not the FDA where they stamp you and say, okay, you're good meat. You understand? So my thing is that
blue stamp on you.
There you go.
Stamp on you.
There you go. So I spend a lot of my life in my business in terms of counseling, which I've had Caucasians that I counsel. I've done marital counseling. I've done all sort of different group counseling. I've done a lot. So the thing is that what I keep telling people is that find out your value through something else other than other people. Because every one of us go to the toilet for two reasons at least. So if everybody's going to the toilet to do the same thing, none of us smarter than the other. My identification comes through the word of God.
I got my blue stamp, Dr. Judith. I got my blue stamp right there. My blue stamp, USDA.
Oh, no, man, you see, that's where you have yours?
Yeah, prime beef.
Lord have mercy. But what I'm saying though is that we have to find definition. And what we have to, the Bible says, a lack of knowledge of people perish. If we don't know who we are, we're going to continue to repeat this cycle through our children, our grandchildren. You look at, and I mean, I wish Black people would be more honest. You look at a family of people, and there's this little light-skinned child, a little girl, a little boy. What are we him cute? It might not be the best-looking child, but him light, or she's light. We have an issue with that. Until we go back to denial, until we admit that, we're going to always be in trouble. So what happened? Obama, Harvard graduate, brilliant man. His wife is a Harvard graduate, brilliant woman. So now this country saw two Black people who happen to be married to each other, who are brilliant, who are attractive, and for her, what made it powerful is that he married a dark-skinned woman. He didn't marry a brownie. He married a dark-skinned woman. So that started mirroring another different change. So we have sense. It is president. And it's been a good thing for us. It's been a really good thing for us. I think we have put too many
business. Do you think that it's helped us with business? Do you think that it's helped us gain a foothold?
I don't know if it's gained a foothold, but I do believe it tells us it is possible. And that is what we needed. More than anything else, we needed to know that somebody who looks like us, who can talk like us, who eats some of the foods that we eat, culturally they're similar to some extent. We needed to know that we could be in that place. The opposite is true for white folks. They felt the worst thing that happened is a black man and a black woman slept in the White House. That's what a lot of them are still fussing about. But listen, they will turn it around and twist it around and make it seem like they went and got the water and they did the real building when we didn't really participate in it. But what I'm saying in general about this is that when we saw that, we saw ourselves being more capable, being more likely to succeed. I believe it's made a very positive difference in this country for black folks. But we've got to still struggle with this. We still struggle with this. What do you call it? The crab in the barrel mentality.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. So somebody gets up there. Where y'all go? You think you're better than me? Yeah, you come from the same town. Yeah, you come from the same district. We are going like you're better than me.
You see, like how you touch on my little closing note, I know that.
Okay. On that
note, come up with something else.
On that note, will we take turns now giving our last thoughts on this for the night?
I'm going to touch on some resources that people tend not to think about, like the SBA.gov for mentorship, for starting the business from the business plan to the point of actually launching the business. They will assist you with a lot of different things like that. Grants for business education, real estate, grants because you're a woman, grants because you're part of a minority group that they've identified, grants to put it in certain areas that are low income or whatever. You're setting up a business in certain areas. So the things are out there. You just have to sort of do some research and get some financial support and other support that you need. And the crabs in a barrel thing. Have it to know. Do not approach business with a crabs in a barrel mentality. I swear, mindset is my word actually. You have to share resources, share information. Just because you do something, you're doing this on the side, I'm trying to do this. We can help each other. At what point did we think that, if you succeed, I have to fail? No.
Not exactly. No. And one arm of that, one arm of getting rid of the crab in the barrel mentality is to deliberately and purposely bring in interns, mentors, mentees. You bring people along so that look like you, so they can say, "Oh, I can rise too." So that's the whole idea, and that's another way to cut out that crab in the barrel mentality. Is to bring them along, understanding that no matter what color it is, human beings will try to mess with you as you rise. I mean, I always tell people, eagles don't belong on the ground, not for long anyway. If an eagle stays on the ground too long, they become a chicken. So you don't want, you have to know that you're an eagle. There were times I pretended to be a chicken because people bugged the crap out of me because they saw my eagle's wings. So nowadays, when they bother me, I just take the eagle wing and I splash them and say, "Get out of my way." But I fought being an eagle for a long time because I didn't want people to be upset with me. And those are the things that we have to teach each other, that once you start soaring, people are going to get upset with you. they're gonna get annoyed. And our people, white people feel it too, you know. But white people never think we can get that far, so they don't get that upset with us, you know. But we chop each other up. So the idea is to let people know you are an eagle. We have eagle's wings. If you read the story of the eagle, if you listen to how an eagle operates, powerful. And that's what I live by. So Sam, what do you want to share about last thoughts on business, black owned business for the night?
You gotta be a psychologist to survive as a black business owner. I'm very, very serious.
I agree. It's harder for us.
Our folks have various dimensions of issues.
Various dimensions of issues.
Various. And it's a learning process for me.
Yeah.
So once you can start there, you know, you should be able to maneuver your way and get to what it is. You know, it's almost like soul food cooking on a Sunday, because it's not even just about the food you prepare, you eat in the end. It's the conversation before the food was before you even got the ingredients. They had to go and get the ingredients. That's a process. Then when the ingredients get to the house, is a process. And you know, and when they put the oil on the fire and they put the boiling water and they start doing the thing in the house. And I'm saying soul food not to confuse anyone, but just home cooking generally, it's a process. So by the time this food finished cooked with love, there's so many motives in that food. By the time you sit down to eat that food, it's almost like a baptism. And that is how we have to deal with our people with business. It's almost like a baptism.
Yeah.
I'll give this quick experience and then I have to address Lucy, because Lucy wants to know about where the book. So I remember doing a hustle at one of the camp meetings. I was selling, I had a gospel CD I was selling. And I'm by the throughway, you know, people are passing and I had my vehicle there and people buying, you know, I was selling them for like $5 a pop. So a group of people knew me and they stopped and they say, "Hey, Sam, you're here. You have your CD?" I said, "Yeah." And so they had one guy in the group and he said, you know, if you don't get it, it's he's selling it right here. So now this guy, I took, you know, so it wasn't the CDs in the pack with the inserts and so on. They were CDs that you just have the one from the factory and I put it in a case and you get that. So that's why it was $5. You know, if it was the other one, he would have probably been paying 10 or 12. So I'm doing this $5 business. And so he says, could you play the CD, make sure it has something on it? I said, okay, I guess he probably bought a CD before. So I take the CD out of the thing and I put it in the player and hit play. Boom, the music come on. I say, all right, it's playing. They say, all right, boom. You know, to make a long story short, this man must have spent nearly 15 minutes to give me $5 for a CD. And that was $5. I don't remember ever working so hard for a $5 in my life. Never, I've never worked that hard for a $5 because that's $5, man. And the guy walked away with the group, and everybody in the group looking at him like, "Why are you acting this way?" Like, so maybe he bought a CD some time ago and it wasn't good or it didn't work in his system, and he probably was so upset that for him to pay $5 for an album that passed all the tests, he still left like he, you know, hopefully when he got home, it worked for him and it worked out, you know, but that was a beautiful experience. So Lucy, the ebook of Hybrid Executive, actually it's interesting because I'm wearing the, this is the name of the book, Hybrid Executive. It's available on Amazon.com. So if you go to Amazon.com or you go to Barnes and Noble or you go to iBooks, I don't know what system you're working with. Just type in Hybrid Executive and type my name in. What you may have to do is type in Samuel E, the letter E, Archer, and put Hybrid Executive, and the book should come up. You should be able to get it in the search portion. If you're having some problems there, I put a link in the on the YouTube side. I noticed it didn't come up in the feed here, so probably they have an issue with links. But you can go to samsdigital.net. I hope this would come up. If you go to samsdigital.net, I have links there as well that you can get the information. Okay, and thank you for your support, Lucy. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And
thanks a lot, Sam. Mark, you want to give your wrap up of what your thoughts are on this tonight?
Well, I think I listened very carefully talking about Obama and the White House and all of that. And it definitely had an effect on small businesses, Black businesses. There are things that are forgotten. You've got to know your history before you know your future. The man who designed Washington, D.C., his name was Pierre L'Enfant, and the chief architect was Benjamin Banneker, two Black men.
Right.
That designed the city out and its grid within a triangle to protect it by water, what they call the foggy bottom.
Oh, okay.
Complete mud. You couldn't cross from Virginia because you'd sink into the mud. You couldn't enter the city. You couldn't get to the northwest of the city because there was what they call the Baltimore Pass. So the White House wasn't so white. Never was. Pierre L'Enfant designed it from beginning to end. A brother that looked like me, with one blue eye and one brown eye, which makes me very proud.
Fusion.
And designed the house from top to bottom. Top to bottom. Along with Benjamin Banneker. We have a history in Columbia, South Carolina, in Kingston, Jamaica, in Georgetown, Guyana, of taking and doing for ourselves with our own businesses what couldn't be done. Yeah, okay, marketing, all of this, this is all valid. But you know what? I can talk to Karin, I can talk to you, Sam, I can talk to you, Dr. Judith, and say, you know what, Dr. Judith, I would like a large picture in my living room. I can say to Karin, I want to buy some things for my daughter. I can say to you, Sam, I want to hear some music in my house that I actually want to hear. Just be there. Be there. Be there. Don't worry, they'll find us. They always do. They always do. And when they can't find us, they capture us, they tie us, they beat us, they hang us until we do what in the hell they want us to do. We have been marketing ourselves for 430 years just by being alive. Trust and belief.
But and I won't disagree with that. So do you think at this point, now we have seen history change to a great degree, although some ways it hasn't changed, some ways it hasn't really changed. Can we now remarket ourselves? Can we do a different marketing of ourselves? Because that's one of the reasons why Obama came, is to give us a new view of ourselves.
We certainly can, sister. We certainly can. We certainly can.
I think it started already. But we got to stick with it.
Here's the funky part. Here's the funky part. A young man a year ago, yesterday, was choked to death by a man half his size. Half his size. With a third of his power. Mr. Floyd. Okay? Because he played by the rules. Two hustlers taught me that real quick. Rule number 1, ain't no rules out here. Rule number 2, refer to rule number 1. Ain't no damn rules out there. None. So, if you're talking about marketing, there are these rules, there are these educational, oh, you do it this way, you go on social media, you go on, you know what? Each of you has, you can market yourselves where you are. Conversations. It's really a beautiful thing. We've created something that a lot of people can't create just by talking to each other.
True. Listen, I'm going to say on that note, Mark, interesting that you said that. Last week I meant to say it and I didn't, and I meant to write something during the week and I didn't, to say thanks to you guys, thanks to Curtis for sure, and you guys and what you have set up here. This is the 45th show that we're doing, and I'm proud to say that I've been here for almost all of them. I'm glad that I was included. I appreciate it. I think that we are making a difference just from the people just from the people that comment each night, each Tuesday night that we're here. I just spoke to my brother Winston by text and asked him if he'd be willing to appear on the show next Tuesday, if you guys are interested in having him, talking about Black business and his perspective. He's the one that he's the news director at WAVS in Florida. So if you want him, he's willing to come for a bit. But what I'm excited about is that what you guys have created here, and I believe in saying things when it comes to me. It is a good thing. Whether 5 or 10 or 15 people listen, this is a Black business. What we have here is a Black business. Everybody contributing here, even though we have our separate businesses, we're contributing to one business here. And that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. So I thank you all for including me. And certainly you can let Mr. Curtis know that I hope he gets better real fast and that he's missed. I don't have nobody cussing me out tonight. So he's missed. But like I said, it's important when you see something happening to speak of it. So what is happening here? I thought about it. I said, you guys, and I think most of it is done by you, Karin, the researching and Sam bringing in, all of you bringing in these various guests and everything. Beautiful, wonderful. It is the groundwork for business. It is a business. So when we're talking about all this stuff, we are to remember that this itself is a business. And me as an individual, I have no desire but to see everybody succeed at what you do. I my paintings and stuff, they are what they are. They I mean, they've gone to another dimension. I tell people, I said, listen, if you don't like it, don't worry about it, because God told me I could do it. To talk to him if you got a problem with it. But I'm not a competitive person, so I have no competition with you guys. I just want everybody to soar because I believe in eagles. So that being said, I thank Mr. Curtis Henry for asking me to help out, and I've got a lot of help from Karin and a lot of help. We're a group, and so for the gentleman that came on, that was lovely. I enjoyed that, and
very lovely.
For my take on this black business thing, guys, we have the power, we have the information. We came from power. We came from as a people, we came from kings and queens. We just got to remember, that's the problem. If we can't remember where we're from, we can't go where we need to go. And that's my thing. I want black folks to find out where we started. So
remember, not find out. Remember,
some of us have to find out. Some of us didn't know in the beginning. Some of us have to find out, and some of us have to remember. So it is our job, and I think we're doing it here in our own way. We're reminding people and we're instructing people about who we are. And maybe Christ Jesus, before we die, we can see some level of, first, definitely less crabs in a barrel. And that we'll just simply start saying, you know what? Let's get over what was said about us and let's learn who we are and operate from that point. Guys, it's a pleasure as always.
Yes.
And to our viewers and listeners, we thank you for being here. We thank you for the comments that you made. We thank you for coming along with us for the 45th show. Good stuff. God bless you all.
45.